My name is Siti athaillah with my SID 33230035, and today I'm gonna do a project 2 of the morpho-phonology subject. And this project will contain two parts, which is the first part is about explaining two topics, and the topic I'm taking is about syllables and stress-preserving suffixes, and the next part, which is the part 2, is about case study. And I think let's continue to the part 1. First up, syllable. What is syllable? Syllable is the smallest unit of pronunciation in a word. So usually syllable contains one vowel to create or forms the core of the syllables. And the syllable itself can stand alone or maybe can combine it with other consonant. And the next is structure of syllable. So syllable contain three parts, which is first onset. What is onset? Onset is appeared before the vowel, and then nucleus or vowel sound, and then coda after the vowel. So basically it comes at the end. Next is each of the examples of the syllables. I have 5 examples to show here. The first up is the word robot. Robot is containing 2 syllables, which is ro and bot. And for the ro itself, it contains onset R and nucleus O. And for the bot, is the onset is B, nucleus O, and the coda, which comes at the end, is T. And garden, it's the same as the robot. It contains 2 syllables, which is gar and den. The onset itself is G, nucleus A, and the coda R. Why is the coda shows on the middle of the word? Because the R was consonant. Okay, so consonant it's considered as coda. And then for the den is D as the onset, E as the nucleus, and N as the coda. Next example is candy, can, and D. And for the onset is C, the nucleus A, and the coda N. And for the D, the onset was D, and Y is the coda. And for the word summer, it's contained 2 syllables, some and mer. And for the sum is S as the onset, U as the nucleus, and M as the coda. And for the mer, it's M as the onset, E as the nucleus, and R as the coda. And for the last examples is teacher. T is the onset, and the nucleus is E. Why does the nucleus contains 2 alphabet? It's because E and A, it's forming the sound E, which is the vowel sound. And for the ch, the onset was CH, and the nucleus was E, and the coda was R. Next is, I'm gonna talk about the second topic, which is stress-preserving suffixes. What is stress-preserving suffixes? So stress-preserving suffixes is a type of suffix that does not change the stress position of the base word when it was added. Why is it important? Because stress-preserving suffixes keeps the original stress of the base word. You can see later on when I show the examples. And then stress-preserving suffixes, they make word formation easier to predict and help learners to understand English stress patterns. If you want to see the full function, you can pause here. And then next is common stress-preserving suffixes. It's like basic suffixes that you guys usually use, which is suffix full, suffix less, suffix ness, suffix ly, and suffix men. Next is the examples. First up is the word useless. So in the word useless, the stress, it remains on the first syllables, which is use. The first word, use, which is the base word. Okay, the suffix less, it doesn't shift the stress of the word, which is it's still on the base word, still on use. Same like the other examples, like kindness, peaceful, sadly, and fearless. They all keep the stress on the base word, which is for the kindness. Stress is on the word kind, and for peaceful it's still on the word peace, and then sadly on sad, and fearless on fear. They were all has its stress on their base word, so the suffix doesn't change any of the stress. Moving on to the next part, which is case study. We have like a passage here, and you guys can see here I highlighted some of the word here, which we're gonna break down at the next slide. If you guys wanna read the passage, you can pause the video because I'm not gonna read the whole passage due to the duration. Next is we're gonna break down highlighted word on the previous passage. First up is we're gonna talk about assimilation. I don't put the explanation on the video about what is assimilation, but basically I'm gonna explain it in short. So basically assimilation happens when sounds change because of the fast speech. And there's the examples here. The first example is going to, it's become gonna. And then the next is kind of, it's become kinda. And then want to is become wanna. In the passage says, Daniel says, I'm gonna check the projector. I'm gonna, it stands for I'm going to, okay? So the T sounds bland and the phrase becomes shorter, okay? And next is kind of, which is kinda. In the passage, it shows Lena says, I'll kinda help you later. And then the next is want to, it becomes wanna. In the passage, it shows children shout, wanna play? The T sound merge with the vowel, and this is and it's called as assimilation due to fast casual speech. It's become wanna from want to. And next is metathesis. I didn't show the explanation here too, but basically metathesis occurs when two sounds change places. Examples here, the first example is ask is become ask. The passage shows that Marcus says ask instead of ask. So the ask and K switch places, okay? They switch places and they become metathesis. And then the next example is spaghetti become fusketti. So the passage shows a child that was saying spaghetti as paschetti. And the sounds S and P, they switch places, which also make it a metathesis. And then the last is animal becoming animal. Students imitate animal, and the final vowel and consonant switch pattern. Last is ephenthesis. So the ephenthesis here shows 3 examples, which is film as film. We added the U. Oh, sorry, I forgot to explain what is ephenthesis. Ephenthesis happens when an extra sound is added to a word. In here, it shows like the word film become film, which is added the letter U. So the passage shows Miss Della says film, and then the U sound is added between L and M. And animal itself, it's animal to animal. It can appear as both ephenthesis and metathesis. Student says animal in the passage, which is with the letter U, and then the last is grandma. Okay, so the letter D is dropped, and a slight guide vowel appears between N and M. So in quick speech, so grandma. Next is the instructions say that we have to read the following 20 items aloud using correct IPA pronunciation. So I'm gonna show 20 words to read aloud. First up is comfortable, and then probable, and then accommodate, massive, governor, texture, athlete, experience, gladiator, happening, generation, moderate, service, intensity, category, intricate, department, gratitude, ethical, spontaneous. Next is I'm gonna show like the passage here. Also is a long passage. You can pause it if you want to read, because I'm about to break down this passage in the next slide. So in here we're gonna talk about the bold word. We should consider it, which is their stress preserving suffixes or stress attracting suffixes or stress shifting suffixes. First, we're gonna talk about stress preserving suffixes. The first up is the word hopeful. So stress preserving suffixes basically, like I talked previously, the stress is remain on the base word, which is for three of the example here, which is hopeful, careless, and darkness. Their stress is still on the word hope, care, and dark, which is their base words. So the full, less, and ness is just the suffixes. It doesn't change any of the stress. And then stress attracting suffixes. The first is education. So the suffix tion causes the stress to fall on the syllable before education. So the stress was on the K. Okay. And then musician, the suffix chen attracts the stress on to the preceding syllable. Musician. So the stress was on the C. And then geology, the suffix logy causes the stress to move to the syllable before it. So geology. Okay. And then last but not least is democratic. Their base word is democracy, but the stress shifts to ra, democratic. So if you read democracy, the stress was on the mo, and but if you read democratic, the stress was on the re. And then next is economic. The base word is economy, and the stress moves to no, which is before is the stress was on the co. Okay, economy. And then photographic. The base word is photograph, and the stress shift to graph, photographic. And then the last is geological. The base word is geology, and their stress shift to low, geological, which is the previous stress was on the geology, but if you change it to geological, the stress was shift to low. It's geological. Okay. And that's it. I hope my explanation is understandable. And thank you for your time. See you. Bye bye.